My name is Steve McFarnick. My wife Julie and myself have been working over the past 6 years of renovating this property that we purchased and the home that's on it. Earlier this year, we were at a point where we wanted to look at a kitchen renovation, a complete redo, and started looking at some options for a general contractor for this specific project. The kitchen was going to be a major undertaking, so we wanted something that we felt we could work with, somebody we could trust, and somebody who was professional. And as we got into learning about Smith & Sons and eventually agreeing to work with them on a contract, they ticked off all those boxes. The primary focus was going to be a complete kitchen renovation. However, the kitchen leads on to a mudroom, laundry room, and a powder room. And because we wanted to do the flooring throughout to finish it off, we opted to do all 3 side rooms as well. And when Alex, that date and time came, Alex was timely, he was here, turned out professional, he was prepared, and just that initial introduction went very smoothly, and it just allayed any concerns I might have. I felt very comfortable dealing with Alex on the front end on our initial meeting, and that just evolved and grew into a great working relationship with him, his team, and his subtrades. We had a lot of ideas as to what we wanted in this kitchen, and Alex listened to those ideas, and he helped us operationalize those into a plan and related quote. And as you can tell from the kitchen, there's a lot of cabinetry, there's a lot of countertops here. It took some time working with the cabinet supplier to work through some of the options that were available. Things that were important to us were pull-out recycle drawers, as an example, and how we could make that work within the dimensions of recycled bins. There was a lot of little nuances that we worked back and forth on. What made us decide to go with Smith & Sons had a lot to do with how we were interacted with and dealt with on the front end, right from the initial call to the Smith & Sons office in Vernon, the follow-up discussions, and then the initial meeting on site. Could tell that Alex was very switched on. We knew he knew what he was talking about. He knew what he was doing based on some comments he made about our place and what we were looking to accomplish. He had good references with him. He had his insurance information that he provided to us right on the front end. He made us feel very comfortable. He didn't rush us into decisions, and he was very receptive to questions. And as we evolved through the project, it just came to be that he was very good to work with. We made some changes on the fly. He received those well and made the changes where applicable. And we didn't feel like we were being shunned or pushed or going into a different direction. He listened to what we wanted, and he made it happen. I liked very much working with Alex through the project, from when he started the quote process and when we had final numbers, and then he prepared a booklet of a schedule as to how this renovation would unfold. He presented that, very detailed, attention to detail, which is something I appreciate. So that made me very comfortable that this was a professional organization. As we evolved, Alex went from, when we did the handshake, his first comment to Julie and I was, "I look forward to building you a beautiful kitchen," which is just what I wanted to hear, because we were going to spend a lot of money, and he never lost focus on that. Once we started the work, Julie and I did the demo for the place, so they came into a bare bones structure, but you could tell Alex was all business right on day one with his team. And his mind just went into doing what he promised, and that was building us a kitchen. He was businesslike, and he just went right at it, professional, but he was also very attention to detail orientated. And I noticed that through several stages, including right up to the finish. He would just walk in, he would just see something that just didn't sit right with him, and he'd make a comment. He said, "No, I'm going to change that, I'm going to fix that." And he was very attention to detail, and I really liked that about him. So I enjoyed working with him. Again, we made some changes on the fly with him. And if there were certain stages that we thought didn't meet with our expectations, I could very easily talk to him about it and say, "We have a concern about this." And he didn't try to hide it or convince us that that was normal. He said, "Let's figure out a way to make it acceptable for how you want it as the client." and he did that. And he was very easy to work with. We never had concerns about, being rushed or being a project number in his dossier of other projects that he had on the go. He took this project on. You could tell he was very serious about it, and I could tell his reputation was attached to it as he went through, and that was important to me. Alex very bluntly loves challenges. You can tell working with him. Any little things that come up, and it's like a Rubik's Cube to Alex, the way he processes things. And he did a lot of little cabinet adjustments with drawers and slide-ins that we were waiting on somebody else to come and do. And anytime he would come and something didn't work, he took it as a personal challenge. He would sit there, all of a sudden he'd just have sitting on the floor, his legs would be crossed, and he'd be like a kid with a puzzle, and he's just trying to figure it out. And you can tell he took pride in that. He says he loves challenges, he loves figuring out solutions to them. That's the kind of people I like, people that don't just talk about problems, but people that have solutions to them, and he consistently done that on a regular basis over the 3 months. Our quality of life has improved with this kitchen, just in terms of, and of course we're living in a COVID bubble as well. So we're spending a lot more time at home. My wife and I catch ourselves some morning, we'll be sitting down for breakfast around the island here and just looking around and say, this is amazing, compared to what we had before. We've had guests over to our place since the conclusion of the project. Their jaws have dropped when they walked through because they knew what we had before and just what we had transformed it into. And we turned that around to throw those kudos back to Smith & Sons and to Alex and particularly. And of course there's going to be value in the home that has been added with this beautiful kitchen, and we know down the road that will pay itself back to us at some point. So we're quite fortunate in terms of how the project has gone, but we love it. We like to entertain. We're those type of people. And you feel proud bringing people in your home when you've got something like this to show, and it's amazing. If somebody were to phone me today and say, why should they engage with Smith & Sons? The first thing that would come out of my mouth is, I trust them in my house, bar none. They were here for 3.5 months, sub-trades, and I never had one iota of concern with people in my house when I'm not around, when I'm at work, when my wife's away, when my wife is here. Just had that genuine, honest, good vibe about it with Alex and his team. So that was first and foremost. Second was the professionalism that they demonstrate while they're here through the project, the attention to detail. That's what you want, and if you're walking in blind to a contractor that you have no history with, like we had no history with Alex. I can say after going through 3.5 months journey with him and his team, he won. At the very least, you should be talking to them about the scope of your project, make your decisions. If you want to compare with others, please do, but Smith & Sons should be one of your calls on the front end. Just to reiterate our appreciation and trust in Alex and Smith & Sons, it wasn't, I think we were only 2 weeks into this renovation. We were still doing all the rough work. And a good colleague of mine who lives in this area I ran into him, we were cycling one day and told him that we were doing a kitchen renovation. He said, well, that's what we're looking to do right now. I said, you want to talk to these guys then? I said, I'm not into heavy sales pressure, I'm not getting any kickback, but you want to talk to these guys, and if you want, I can pass along your number. And he said, yeah, please do. So I passed along James' number to Alex. Alex went and met with him, and bing, bang, bong, he's involved in another kitchen reno at the same time this one's going on. And I know from James' experience, he has since extended that referral process ×2 to Alex through colleagues of his in the area. So I think that says something, and now you've got not just a name and a testimonial online, but you got people that you trust that are saying, we had a great experience with Smith & Sons, in particular with Alex. And so I think that says a lot to me. It's if you're happy, you tell somebody, and if you're not happy, you tell a bunch of people. And I think Alex and his team are going to do quite well. But their professionalism, their ability, their attention to detail is certainly right up there, and I have no regrets at all with entering into that arrangement for this renovation.